All right, seventh graders. So today we're going to be talking about meiosis and mitosis. And so we've been doing this for, this will be the second day in a row that we've talked about, or maybe third day in a row, we've really been introduced to meiosis. And now we're really diving into asexual versus sexual reproduction. So here, when you guys start off today's lesson, and I'll put this up on Teams after, obviously, once this video gets uploaded, I'll put this video on Teams. I've been doing that a lot lately since you guys need to watch these videos. And it seems like it works a little better. Anywho, so here's mitosis versus meiosis Quizlet. It's just a study material. I put this up now because we will be having a test on Friday. It might be subject to change. I'm not sure quite yet. But as of right now, I have next Friday for our test. So we're still going to start, like here it says, we're going to start on DNA. So we'll do a little bit with DNA, but we need to get asexual and sexual reproduction nailed down first. So here's a Quizlet, help you study a little bit. Asexual versus sexual. Here's something to help you study a little bit. So what we did in class is I said, all right, let's study 7 minutes on this one. Get off that one, study 7 minutes on this one, just a little bit of time, right? I don't want you guys on there. You guys don't, unless you want to, obviously. But if you think you have to be on there for an hour, you don't. Just do it for a couple minutes, more than a couple minutes. I think study time for you guys should be 20-minute increments. We did 15 in the classroom because you guys can study outside of school. But anywho, so there. That was the first part of our class. After that, we went to the computer lab, and we got on this asexual versus sexual lab. Okay, so this guy's loading right here, and so we have all of these organisms right here. Okay, along with that, here is our asexual lab online lab worksheet. I need to label those guys a little better. But this worksheet goes right along with the web. Okay, so I'll take this guy over here, and I'll take this guy right here. All right, so this first one, we only did these first two rows. You do not, so it says predict from the picture. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that row. I do want you to do this one, okay? And so when I go through this one, you're going to predict first, okay? So it says correct answer. You can do these at the same time, but I want you to, this is for practice for you to get, okay? If you want to, you need to turn this in, but it's for a completion grade. It's not necessarily if you get it right or wrong, but it's you need to practice this so you understand, like when we take that test next week, if I give you a little passage like this, you need to be able to determine, is this asexual or sexual? Why is that way? So let's go ahead and start off with this honeybee. So we have our honeybee here. This queen honeybee mates, wants to collect all of the sperm she will need in her lifetime. Back at the hive, she uses the sperm to fertilize some of the eggs while leaving others unfertilized. Fertilized eggs become females and unfertilized eggs become males. One chosen female will be raised as a new queen. Okay, so down at the bottom, it gives you the choices. So right away, it can either be sexual, it can be both, or it could be asexual. And so this is where the prediction starts. So we don't want to choose yet, right? We want to think about it. We want to train ourselves. And so when I think about sexual reproduction, what do I think about? Well, in sexual reproduction, we know there's meiosis involved. Meiosis, plain and simple, is just the production or the making of sperm or egg cells. And those are sex cells, otherwise known as gametes. Okay. And so if I see anything that talks about sperm, fertilizing and stuff like that, right away I should be thinking sexual reproduction, which is correct. So there is sexual reproduction going on. There's fertilization going on. However, there's others that are unfertilized. So meaning it's only egg, it's only one. And so if it's unfertilized, but then those guys become males, well, then that must mean if there's only one egg and then it's arising, there's an organism arising from that and only one parent, right? Then that must mean that part is asexual. So there's a sexual component here. Fertilization, there's an asexual component to this too, and that's the unfertilized egg, meaning there's one, right? One parent contributes the DNA, in this case the queen bee, but there's no sperm going into it. So I would go ahead and guess, let's say both. Okay, and now let's check our answer. Okay, both. So here's the correct answer. We were right. Okay, and so now let's go ahead, and these go in order. Pink salmon right next to it, leopard frog. Oh, sunflower, sorry. Here's the sunflower, and then it goes leopard frog right here. But anyways, let's look at this pink salmon. Salmon live in the ocean, but they reproduce in freshwater streams. When mature, they migrate upstream in place where they were born. Many swim great distances, and only the fittest salmon survive the journey. The female digs one or more nests to holes in the streambed. As she deposits her eggs, a male covers them with sperm. So again, we have female laying the eggs, and then we have a male coming by with sperm. So when we talk about those two things, we should be thinking about sexual. Sorry, I kind of jumped the gun on that one. So I would predict sexual, and then I check my answer. Oh, yep, it's sexual. So now I'm going to go ahead and type in sexual. Whoop, and that should go. I want to cut it out of there. Okay. I'll put that here. Okay. And so that's what you guys need to do for that one. And so as you guys get going through this, you need to fill out this back one. So when you think about the common characteristics, you guys are going to start figuring out like things like the grizzly bear, things like the red kangaroo. Let me see what else. The bald eagle, right? These are big animals. Even the leopard frog. These guys are in the pink salmon. So like we understand that bigger, more complex animals use sexual reproduction generally. Okay, that's for number one. And you guys need if you need to pause this video right now and then come back to this when you're done with that table, do that. But sexual reproduction, generally larger animals, generally, right? So you come down here to a whip-tailed lizard. If you're listening to this later on, you found out that the whip-tailed lizard, this guy right here, you would think that it would be asexual. Like if I didn't even read about this, I would think it would be sexual because it's large animal, it's complex, has organs, has different tissues and things like that. However, they're only females. All of these whip-tailed lizards are all females, and they pretend to mate. And one of the females lays an eggs, and daughters are identical to their mom. And so there's asexual reproduction. So we do have a few oddities out there, right? These guys, so some of the big organisms can reproduce asexually, but like the huge ones like bears and stuff like those guys are sexual. So most of the time, sexual reproduction is larger, more complex organisms. Asexual, these guys, you probably already figured out. Asexual. So here's Volvox, unicellular organism, paramecium here. Had the salmonella over here, and yeast up here, these unicellular organisms. These guys, the smaller, more simple organisms, they tend to reproduce asexually. And then when we talk about the characteristics that led you to determine whether his organism was produced sexually or asexually, again, I think about word association. So when I think about sexual reproduction, is it talking about fertilization? Is it talking about pollinization, right? Fertilization is just plain and simply you have a sperm and you have an egg. They meet to make a zygote, which is a fertilized egg or a new organism, essentially. So that's sexual reproduction. If I see something about organisms mating, because sexual reproduction requires two parents, so parents mate, and then asexual reproduction, you want to think about things that say like, if we go back to... Okay, we go back to our whip-tailed lizard here. It says daughter cells are identical to their mom. So we know asexual reproduction, we're looking at identical offspring to parent. We're looking at one parent, right? Only one parent produces that offspring. So that one's pretty simple there. And then explain down here how mitosis or meiosis is involved with each type. So mitosis we know is involved with asexual reproduction because mitosis, we start out with one parent cell, and we end up with two daughter cells, and both of these daughter cells are identical to the parent cell. And meiosis, if we look at that, we start out with one parent cell. We come out with four genetically different, or we call them genetically unique. If you're unique, that means you're different. We find we have genetically unique offspring there. And so in meiosis too, by the way, so the big difference too between mitosis, when mitosis, skin cells are made, my teeth are made, all of these different body cells, bones, muscle, nerves, everything, except for sex cells. Sex cells are only made by meiosis. That's the only thing that meiosis is used for. So then when meiosis is over, you either get eggs and females or you get sperm for the males. And then those would be the ones that join, and then that would be the sexual reproduction part. So that's how meiosis ties in with sexual reproduction. Okay. After you get done with this, you will turn this in to me. So I'll have this up on Teams, like I said, after a little bit. Let me see here. Get this 8th grade stuff out of the way for you. And then after you're done with that, you come back here to plan book, and then we have a sexual versus asexual worksheet. So this is a PDF. If you have to write it out on a loose leaf piece of paper, that's fine. Hopefully you can get this printed out. Sorry, I have these PDFs. They're the only worksheets I have right now. But you should be able to do 1, 2, 3. Oh, that is the wrong worksheet. I'll get the correct version of the worksheet pulled up. I'll get it found out and I'll put it on there. But that one was wrong. That one was actually due today. But anyways, I'll get that worksheet put up on Teams so you guys will have the right one. I'll pull the wrong one down. And then there's also a reading. You don't have to read it, but it does have every single answer to it. So you probably should. You really, really, really should so you can get a good grade. But other than that, like I said, don't forget there's a test next Friday. Make sure you study. Make sure you're doing this homework. If you have any questions, please let me know.